by the end of its full rollout. And that's what takes me to our Girls in ICT project. We've trained over 10,000 girls across the length and breadth of this country in the most deprived areas.
From 32% pass rate in mathematics in 2015, now we have 62.32% of our students attaining A1 to C6 in mathematics. We have ventured into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. We have our students pursuing courses in aviation and aerospace, building drones and flying them.
Leadership of the ministry, acting in close collaboration with the leadership of Parliament, designed a scheme to have frequent consultations between and amongst the leadership, because the ministry provides an interface between the legislature and the executive.
We have established about 321 factories in the country, and about 169 of them are completed. As I speak, about 9 of the big names, the big boys in the automotive industry are established in the country.
Between 2017 and now, the government of Ghana has executed tens of thousands of projects across the length and breadth of this country. We have used the taxpayers' money to deliver on public goods and services. And the time has come to tell the story and the detail of that story of what has been executed so far.
You heard of planting for food and jobs. 80% of the grains and legumes that are being planted, even more than, comes from the research lab and fields of the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation.
We have taken the production of aquaculture from 4,000 to over 6,000 metric tons.
We have worked very hard to make it possible for Ghana to become the headquarters of the Africa Continental Free Trade. We've done a lot. We've completed several years uncompleted Bekwai Hospital.
We've also found new oil in the Jubilee Southeast, pumping around 30,000 new barrels of oil to help increase our revenue base as a country.
The government, since 2017, has constructed over 40 kilometers of drains.
The Tamale Airport is now an international airport. We have upgraded it to international status.
We have made this country safer.
The road sector has tackled as many as 12 interchanges in our country. So as many as 6 interchanges, at various stages, including Tamale interchange, have been completed, whilst another 6 are at various stages of completion.
And under my ministry, cholera has become a thing of the past.
In the year 2021, as many as 147 entities prepared their account.
In 2018, we achieved lasting peace in Dagbon, so there is peace.
We have succeeded in zealously protecting the public purse. Indeed, about 20 trillion Ghana cedis have been saved as a result of the actions or the efforts of Mr. Atinjura.
I would say that within the period, we have engaged not less than 2 million persons into permanent employment.
Ghana today, by dint of hard work, is a leading producer of gold on the African continent. We have overtaken South Africa, and we've done so because we've implemented policies and programs to revamp mines which were under care and maintenance.
We have been able to raise cocoa price from 800 cedis per bag to 1,300 plus Ghana cedis per bag, which is unprecedented.
You can also talk about the LEAP progress. Now we are covering 1.7 million beneficiaries.
Ghana has occupied the position as the #1 tourism destination in West Africa. Ghana has become the center of global entertainment.
And this government has rolled out the Rural Telephony Project, which has ensured that 4 million people will be connected by the end of its full rollout. And that's what takes me to our Girls in ICT project. We've trained over 10,000 girls across the length and breadth of this country in the most deprived areas.
From 32% pass rate in mathematics in 2015, now we have 62.32% of our students attaining A1 to C6 in mathematics. We have ventured into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. We have our students pursuing courses in aviation and aerospace, building drones and flying them.
Leadership of the ministry, acting in close collaboration with the leadership of Parliament, designed a scheme to have frequent consultations between and amongst the leadership, because the ministry provides an interface between the legislature and the executive.
We have established about 321 factories in the country, and about 169 of them are completed. As I speak, about 9 of the big names, the big boys in the automotive industry are established in the country.
Between 2017 and now, the government of Ghana has executed tens of thousands of projects across the length and breadth of this country. We have used the taxpayers' money to deliver on public goods and services. And the time has come to tell the story and the detail of that story of what has been executed so far.
You heard of planting for food and jobs. 80% of the grains and legumes that are being planted, even more than, comes from the research lab and fields of the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation.
We have taken the production of aquaculture from 4,000 to over 6,000.
We thank you very much for making time to joining us here at a UPSA Ladies and gentlemen, may I request on behalf of the head of security that the owner of car number NR 991118 kindly meets the security detail outside. NR 991118. If you could kindly relocate, this is urgent.
Well, we're coming to you from the UPSA, that's the University of Professional Studies Accra, specifically from the Kofi Konedo Apreku Auditorium. And as is widely anticipated, the Vice President of the Republic, who is the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, heading into the 2024 general elections, is going to be delivering a speech. And this speech is meant to anchor his vision for the country. Now I'm here with my colleague in the industry, a former colleague actually, Umar Rusanda Amadou, and Palgrave Bwachidankwa, who is a member of the MPP, as well as a government spokesperson on governance and security. Sanda, good to see you.
Good to see you, Kwame Shirado.
Yes.
Know that as journalists, for us, these are the kind of things that we live for. Going to events like this nature where we listen to politicians outline their plans for the nation, because it's our duty to check the things that they see. And it's very important. Today is a very crucial day that we have seen a vice president. We haven't seen a vice president being a flag bearer of a party in a long time.
True.
Since 2000. We are seeing that now. And it's good to hear what he has to say to Ghanaians. And of course, we will do the analysis.
Absolutely. I mean, so, Palgrave, if you look at Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's political career, in 2008, he was chosen by the then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and they went into competition with the late President John Evans Atta Mills. Now, at the time, a lot of people considered him a political neophyte. And as somebody once put it, that his voice was breaking at the time, finding his feet in politics. 16 years down the line, he's now served as vice president for 2 terms under the leadership of the same person that he had worked as a running mate for, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, did you see this day coming?
You know, Ishra, a very good afternoon to you, and very good afternoon to yourself and Omaro. And really to state that today is a very, very important day for the New Patriotic Party. So a very, very important day for Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. I did see this day coming from 2008 when the vice president now was picked up by the then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to become the running mate. You will recall that he was the then deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, which is a role he came in his 40s. For a young person to abandon a career in banking, one of the greatest economists that I have considered, especially in the millennium, which clearly means that he had a future in mind. And so I did see this day coming. He has stood the test of time from 2008 as a running mate, lost the 2008 election, went into preparation, came back again in 2012, lost the 2012 election as running mate. Now he abandoned everything that he was doing because at the time you recall that he was sent to Zimbabwe, where he became the Africa Development Bank representative to rebound the economy of Zimbabwe back after President Mugabe. And the economy of Zimbabwe was totally crippled. I recall working in Zimbabwe in the very early 2000s as a Christian missionary. And at the time, I used to buy 1 loaf of bread for 1 trillion Zimbabwean dollars. I mean, and so for a young man to rebound the economy of Zimbabwe back is extremely remarkable. In the 2012 election, he lost the election. Then we saw the real Bawumia coming out, where he went to the Supreme Court, and then he caused a lot of electoral reforms as we have it today. And we have the famous quote that he says that you and I were not there. He made us aware that elections are won at a polling station. He became an admiration for many, 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 many politicians. And then he came into the 2016 election, assisted the president again, and won overwhelmingly. The numbers that we had in the northern region is proof to show that Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia at the time of 2016 had worked significantly hard from 2008 to date. I did see this day coming. I'm very excited for the New Patriotic Party. I'm very excited for Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia himself. I consider Ghana one of the blessed countries. And I've stated that today, history is going to be made on Ghana in the Republic of Ghana. I stated earlier this morning that the entire world is going to come to a standstill, and you won't believe it. I've not had conversations with the United States of American president, but I'm very certain that he's going to be seated in the White House watching Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm very certain that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm very certain as well that the Chancellor of Germany is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The people in Asia are going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The continent of Africa is going to watch Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Today is a very important day for Ghana and for the New Patriotic Party.
Indeed, Sanda, you'll agree that today is a very important day. 16 years is a long time to nurture an ambition and to see the party overwhelmingly give him the nod to be the flag bearer. Now, it's quite interesting to note that a number of things that has never happened in this country first. First of all, this is the first time that we're having an individual of northern extraction being a flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Secondly, this is the first time we're having a flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party that's not a lawyer.
That's true. That's actually true. Yeah.
You know, but if you look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's body of work over the last 16 years, and of course he came to life during the election petition of 2012. Since then, 2016, he had a series of lectures and he spoke extensively about the economy and how we needed to change things and make it work. But now, today, we're expecting him to speak and share his vision. Now, you recall, soon after his election as the flag bearer, he made a very profound statement that I am my own man. I have my own vision for this country. Now, if you will guess over the period and the things that we want to see change or improve in Ghana, where do you think his focus is likely to be placed?
Well, so there's a lot involved when someone says my own man. It reminds me of John Evans Atta Mills. He was handpicked by Jerry John Rawlings and made the vice president. We do remember what happened between Rawlings and Eko Kensinaka, you know, in the early years of the Fourth Republic. We do know that there was a falling out because there was a disagreement there. Now, subsequently, Rawlings brings in Professor John Evans Atta Mills as his running mate and eventually became the vice president. When he becomes the vice president, he works for the Jerry John Rawlings that we know. Rawlings was a very charismatic man, a very strong man. So for the 8 years that the NDC was in opposition, Rawlings was the guy who was the face of the party, even though John Mills was a flag bearer. However, in fact, I remember very, very vividly when the Chronicle published and said that Atta Mills was going to be a poodle of Jerry John Rawlings, and that conversation, that word became a big issue at the time when Kofi Kumsin Chronicle did that publication. Mills having become president, had to disentangle himself from Rawlings and become a man of his own. He didn't do it in an offensive manner, but you have to do it in a tactful manner. And even with that, we saw what happened, the attack that Mills received. I am juxtaposing this with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He was a nobody, quote and unquote, politically speaking, when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo brought him and said, this is going to be my running mate. In fact, we do know the resistance that Bawumia faced in the New Patriotic Party. People said, Bawo who? Essentially saying, who the hell is this guy that you have gone to bring to come and be your running mate? Fast forward, the NPP lost the elections of 2008, lost 2012, and then won 2016. Over that 8 years in the wilderness, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia graduated from being the unknown NPP guy, the banker somewhere, to becoming a force to reckon with in election 2016. We do remember what he did in 2016. That campaign rested largely on his shoulders and indeed and his spouse. So there he showed us that when he's given the political mandate, he can execute. It was the early signs of what he can do. Subsequently, the NPP wins that election. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo becomes president, and we know that the economy was a big issue. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I remember having covered all the lectures that he did at the Central University College at Miocho on the Pram Road at the time, jabbing the Mahama government. You can call him the Achilles heel of the Mahama government at the time, having fired extensively, and ensuring that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president. Now, the issue of the economy, all those 170 questions that he asked Mr. Arthur at the time, the vice president, calling him to a debate and all of that. It was a Dr. Bawumia being shaped as a man of his own. But then again, it's a difficult job, isn't it, Ishra? You are a vice president. Constitutionally, your duty is to act in the stead of the president. When the president is not around, your job is to be the shadow president. Now, that's a very difficult job. You have to be careful not to undermine your boss. Whatever you do should be in the agreement with your boss. If your boss does not agree, you cannot do anything. So it was a difficult role, and I actually did not envy him at all. Imagine, even if he did not like what Akufo-Addo was doing or what the government was doing, he was bound to support it, maybe silently. We do know his position on a lot of issues, economy. How did he survive those things? It was a difficult one that he had to deal with, but he has dealt with them, played the yes sir massa role in a very, very good way, played the good boy role in a very, very wonderful way, played the role of a planqué, played the role of a mate, a driver's mate, and he did that so well, biding his time or biding his time, slowly. In 2008, nobody would have thought that Bawumia was going to be the flag bearer of the NPP. The views or the choices were very much there. The world, the Alan Chermantins of this world. I mean, so many people, the Kwabena Japons of this world, Aliu Mahama's name, all of these people were there. A certain Bawumia was lurking somewhere in the Bank of Ghana. Nobody thought he was going to be eventually the flag bearer. But having served his master so well, and following the proverb of Africa that says, if you know how to wash your hands, you dine with the masters, you have a Bawumia graduate eventually to become a flag bearer, the first Northerner to do so for the NPP, and the first economist, like you said. And he has done that beautifully, and now he holds the flag. He has said to us that when he holds the flag of the NPP, he's going to be a man of his own. He's going to have his own vision. And so for me, today is the first test. Today is the first test of whether or not Bawumia is a man of his own. The economy is a big challenge. The economy is in turbulence.
Yeah.
He has been the guy who we've described as the economic messiah. He's been the Adam Smith of our time, according to all the people who were praising him ahead of election 2016. We have seen what has happened to the economy. Today, it is his duty to steer his own personality and his own campaign away from the mess. He cannot entirely dissociate himself, but he has to find a way of defending and owning it, because if you are in a trotro and then you people take an overload, when you get to the checkpoint, the police should hold both the driver and the mate responsible. Usually it's the mate who signals and says, let's take more passengers, right? I mean, it may be a very crude analogy to put, but today is a very big test case for Dr. Bawumia, because he has to first of all define himself and also involve himself. Because don't forget, he has not left the MPP.
Yeah.
He's in the MPP. He's leading the MPP into battle. So he cannot say, I am not part of it, like other people had done prior to the election.
That's right.
He must be part of it, and he has to find a way of defending it, and then based on that, outline his vision and say, I have been part. This is what I did, or this is what we did, but now this is what I would do. I really look forward to what he would say, Isha.
You know, but Palgrave, the truth of the matter is that in as much as we have an economy that's in crisis, there has been some bright spots and sparks in terms of what this administration has done. The whole digitalization agenda has changed a lot of things. Look, and but how do you foresee Dr. Bawumia steering this, dicey maze of articulating how, giving the nod, he will turn things around in the areas where we haven't done so well, while improving on the stuff that he's done right?
So, Ishura, I'm very certain that today the Vice President is going to talk about himself. He's going to talk about his vision. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know who he is. He's obviously going to talk about his history as a Sakasaka young gentleman who went to senior high school, went to Oxford University, went to Canada to study for his PhD, did some cleaning of the floor. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know who he is, his character, his competence, his persona, and his visioning. He's obviously clearly as an economist going to talk about the Ghanaian economy. He would not shy away from the Ghanaian economy. He would also talk about the various responsibilities that were given to him and how well he fared as vice president with the role that was given to him by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Today is a very significant day because the vice president would also share his own vision. He has stated that he has his own vision. He did state this on the 4th of November 2023 when the New Patriotic Party overwhelmingly voted for him to become the flag bearer. He will talk about his vision. He will share what his vision is like and how his vision is going to begin when the Ghanaian people give him an opportunity from the 7th of January 2025. Now, we have to remember that the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party is still the sitting vice president of the Republic of Ghana. He has an idea of the vision of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, which ends on the 6th of January 2025. And so every single thing that the vice president is going to share today, flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, is going to begin from the 7th of January 2025. He would strongly share his vision and also states very clearly that when the Ghanaian people given an opportunity to become president of the Republic of Ghana from the 7th of January 2025, things that have gone wrong from the previous government, which would be the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he's going to correct those things. Those are very, very, very key. And he's going to make those bold statements. And it's important for us to see that it takes the maturity of a certain vice president, the maturity of a flag bearer to be able to make a statement in 10 months to a major election. Because you have to remember that he's still a member of the government now. He's also the head of the economic management team. What I'm aware and what I think he will talk about is that because of the controversy around the economic management team, the vice president is going to ensure that he breaks down the role of the economic management team well to the Ghanaian people. Because I'm aware that cabinet is made up of subcommittees. So the subcommittees of cabinet are governance and legal, security, social services, infrastructure, and economy. So there are about 6 subcommittees of cabinet, and the vice president heads the economic management team, which is also a subcommittee of cabinet. Today, the vice president will elucidate more for the Ghanaian people to understand what his role was, the suggestions that he made as the chair of EMT, the suggestions as well that he made to the president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the suggestions that were taken and the suggestions that were implemented from him. He's going to let the Ghanaian people know. And I'll tell you something, Inshira, it is the vice president, the sitting vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, who today has given us a gold reserve. Are you aware that Ghana from Gold Coast to the Ghana of 1957 to the Ghana of the millennium had not had a gold reserve? It was through the ingenuity and innovative and out of the ordinary thinking vice president who has given us a gold reserve. Today, we have gold for oil. And I'll tell you something, yesterday I spent a considerable number of time at the National Development Planning Commission with the Director General, Dr. Kojo Mensah Brampa, and we stood by the Ghana map. And we realized that Ghana is embedded with a lot more resources. We have gold, we have copper, we have iron, we have lithium, we have diamond, we have bauxite, we have manganese. All these mineral resources in Ghana. The Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is going to present bold solutions and how, as a country, we are not supposed to go certain path. And I can promise you something without being a prophet, that Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, when he's president, would depart from the continual going onto the IMF because he's going to challenge the Ghanaian people to provide solutions for ourselves as a country.
Wow. Sanda, very interesting and profound points that Palgrave just raised. But, you know, everyone's going to say, and this was a phrase that was coined during Clinton's campaign, It's the economy, stupid. That's the economy. Money in our pockets. Services running. Do you think that there will be and there will be a marked difference from what Dr. Bawumia will do or say, considering the fact that he's a new man aiming to be the man running the country, right? However, the crop of people he's going to work with are the same people who have been a part of this government for the last 8 years, or 7 years and a couple of months. How do you foresee him being able to rally them behind this vision?
Well, I think you can say that it's the same team, but it will also be the different team. And I always like to refer to history. Mills was president in 2009. His vice was John Mahama. Mills appointed certain people as his ministers. When John Mahama succeeded him, we saw a lot of those people being dropped.
True.
The chief of staff was changed. The ministers were changed. Key ministers were changed. So you may be working under somebody, but you are only taking orders from that person to the extent that you are not the guy in charge. Every man is a man of his own. And when it gets to it, or when it comes to it, Bawumia is the guy who is going to be in the driver's seat. He is going to drive this vehicle. So he has to choose who he wants to work with. Even the choice of running mates, it's a big issue. We do know what's happening. People are jostling for it. People are sponsoring candidates for that. People are pushing people. But at the end of the day, it is he, Bawumia, who is going to be responsible for whoever he chooses. And I know when he goes into his own study at night, or when he goes to bed at night and he's lying there looking at the ceiling, he knows that this guy is the one I want to work with. And I'm sure it is clear in his mind. And I do not think anybody can bully him. I've always said that a choice of a running mate is going to be his first test again. We need to know whether he's going to choose a person that is chosen by him, or he's going to choose a person that was chosen for him by other persons. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a strong man. You are replacing him. He has basically all the MPP structures under him. He has worked for 16 to 20 years to ensure that these structures become part of him. You, Dr. Bawumia, you are now coming through. You are his vice president. But again, you have to chart your own course. You have to chart your own path. I would want to hear what Dr. Bawumia's views on E-Levy is, for instance. He hasn't spoken. I want to hear what his view on free senior high school is. Consistently, people say, let us review the free senior high school. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government has said, no way. Dr. Bawumia is still a vice president. He's still a deputy to Akufo-Addo. So in making some pronouncement, he has to be careful. But I think Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president, even though he's a president and we run an executive government, has to defer to Bawumia on a lot of things. If he wants Bawumia to succeed him as flag bearer, no. As the person that he wants to hand over, he has promised that he wants to hand over to an MPP person. He should give Dr. Bawumia a lot of opportunities, especially this last year, so that he should be in charge of a lot of things. The economy, the ideas. In fact, even the budget for last year, or the budget for this year, which was presented last year, I expected that he should be the guy who is handling all of these things. So, if you don't give him the chance, and he goes to lose, it is your party that has lost. And we remember Kufuor, the former president, has said to us, it is better to be a boy in a governing party than a general secretary in an opposition party. So I'm not sure Akufo-Addo is in his own interest would want his party to crash out when he's leaving. But how does he do that? A lot of it has to be seen. I do not know if he is going to be here tonight. I do not think he'll be here tonight. But whatever Dr. Bawumia says here tonight is something that we should all be looking up to. And we are going to critically analyze everything he says, line by line, word by word, so that we can see whether the Bawumia person is now different from the government, even though he's still a part of it. It is going to be a difficult thing for him to maneuver, a very slippery slope. In one breath, you are Bawumia, the MPP flag bearer, who is independent-minded and visionary on your own. In another breath, on Thursday, you go to cabinet, and the man chairing the cabinet is your boss. And whatever he says is what happens. It is going to be a really difficult one, and I really want to hear what he will say.
And you know, you raise a very fantastic point, Pagwe. Dr. Bawumia still has 9 more months to serve as vice president under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo before eventually, should Ghanaians give him the nod, he will become president-elect. How do you think that today will play out in terms of his independence of thought and the vision within the party structure itself?
So, which is why I've stated very clearly that today is for selfless leadership and bold future decisions. So, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as flag bearer today and as sitting vice president, is going to pronounce a lot more solutions. He's going to profess a lot more policies. But his policies and his solutions and his campaign messages are going to begin from the 7th of January 2025. And so he's still sitting vice president. He's flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, and he's going to profess bold solutions. Now, in the midst of this issue, one of the things that would interest you to note as well is that the vice president, based on the ideologies of the New Patriotic Party, is going to ensure that he's not departing from the ideologies of the New Patriotic Party, but he's going to channel his own path, which is why he's saying that he's his own man. He's got his own vision. He's an independent man of his own self. He's going to pronounce those solutions and those futures. And which is why, for me, after the vice president finishes today, his vision, his bold statements, his individual stance, the vice president is going to make sure that the Ghanaian people are aware of what he wants to do. And so today is a very important day for Ghana, a very important day for the vice president, a very important day for the New Patriotic Party. And obviously, once he's done today, he has set the stage for campaigning. He's set the stage for what he's going to do. And we need to also state the things that he's going to talk about today is going to form the foundation and the basis for the manifesto, which we are yet to prepare as a political party. And so everyone should exercise patience and then allow people to see what the vice president has in place.
Yes, Insha, thank you so much. So, Pagrave Bwachi Dankwa, government spokesperson on security. Let me just say that if you're watching us, we are coming to you live from the UPSA, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is delivering a big speech to the nation today, to his party supporters primarily, and also to the nation, where he's telling us he's going to chart his own path. I'm here with Inshira Ado and with Asasi Radio. We were engaging Pagrave Bwachi Dankwa. Thank you so much, Pagrave. He is a government security spokesman. Thank you so much. We are bringing in many people as and when we call up with a conversation. So we've also grabbed and brought in someone in our midst now. Master, how are you? Miracles Dennis Abuaji is a pro-Bawumia person. And now you can't even say pro-Bawumia because everybody is Bawumia person based on what the MP are saying to us. What is the biggest takeaway for you? What should the biggest expectation be